Democratic lawmakers have fled Texas to try to block the state's effort to redistrict congressional lines.
I am proud of the members who are here, but I am disappointed that while these members are here, reporting for their duty under the Constitution, others are out of the state.
This isn't the first time that Texas lawmakers have walked out of the legislature, but this time other blue states are joining their efforts to raise the stakes in this political standoff.
And I'd like to say welcome to all of my Texas colleagues. We want you to know that you are welcomed in Illinois. Stay as long as you want.
Hi, my name is Susan Ferricchio, national politics reporter for the Washington Times, and I'm here to give you some insights into the cross-country redistricting battle happening right now. Over 50 Texas House Democrats fled the state to prevent a quorum that was needed to vote on a mid-decade redistricting bill. Some of the lawmakers have left the state via a private jet, and some of them were criticized for that. And others left via bus, but they just basically said, look, we're going to be outside of Texas state lines. Democrats wanted to avoid a vote on redistricting because it would ultimately result in 5 fewer congressional seats for their party. Texas Republicans have 25 of the 38 congressional seats in the Congress, and Democrats have 12 seats. Redistricting is a very significant part of who will win in various elections. And this year, Republicans are hoping to hold on to the House majority. They have a very slim majority, about 3 seats.
At the end of the day, 137 Texans lost their lives. That's an emergency. That demands our action. But instead of holding hearings on flood prevention, Greg Abbott and Donald Trump held 8 hearings on redistricting, not for fairness, not for representation, but to manufacture 5 more Republican seats in Congress to enable Trump to cling on to power.
The governor responded by threatening Democrats in 2 ways. First, he said he would send law enforcement to arrest them and bring them back to the Capitol, where they would have to attend the legislature as prescribed by law. He also threatened to remove them from the legislature and hold special elections to replace them.
These Democrats have absconded from the responsibility, and I believe they have forfeited their seats in the state legislature because they're not doing the job they were elected to do.
You know, it sounds like something like this is really unusual, but in Texas, it's not. They've been fighting over redistricting like this for 20 years, and it's worked its way through the courts, and people interpret it in different ways. Democrats say that this redistricting is illegal and that they have every right to leave the state in order to avoid voting on this legislation or giving the Republicans an opportunity to pass it.
Pursuant to the Constitution, the governor gets to set the agenda, and the Constitution says the members of the legislature shall show up to do their jobs.
They also believe they have the right to issue these arrest warrants, they're civil warrants, and that they have also the right to declare the seats vacant and call for new elections. The lawmakers left Texas and went to various states. We know that there are many in Illinois, others are in New York, and a few others have gone to Massachusetts. These Democrats want to basically hunker down in these states until the special session in Texas ends, and that's in a couple of weeks. So they're committed to remaining where they are. Well, blue states are responding by threatening to redistrict their congressional maps as well.
Fire with fire. No butter knife to the gunfight. We are ready to bring the fire, bring the heat. We can do that too.
The governor, Kathy Hochul, who's also a Democrat, said this week that she's going to try to find a way to redistrict sooner in order to respond to what's going on in Texas. And the attitude of blue states is, look, if Texas is going to do partisan redistricting, then we have no choice but to do it ourselves. And so we've heard from governors in New York and also Gavin Newsom in California talk about ways to redistrict sooner than originally planned. It's become really the new frontier in politics right now, and how they can try to win control of Congress. And so I expect that the blue states, now we're talking Wisconsin, California, New York, maybe others trying to join in on redistricting to try to make the maps more favorable to Democrats, and so that fewer Republicans win in their state. Well, there's a lot at stake looking at who will control Congress in 2026. It's the midterm election. Oftentimes, the party that's not in power in the White House tends to pick up a lot more seats. We have a Republican in the White House. The expectation would be that Democrats would pick up more seats in the House, potentially harder for them in the Senate, but they could, and that this will lead to, a divided Congress, and that will make it really difficult for Trump and his agenda to go anywhere after 2026. So that's a pretty big thing. Now, if Texas is able to pull off this redistricting and they get their additional 5 seats, and Democrats aren't able to maneuver any redistricting themselves by the midterm election, then I think it's more likely that Republicans could potentially hang on in their majority, which is very hard to do in a midterm election. And then given that the Senate map does favor Republicans currently, you could see in 2027, President Trump in the White House and Republicans continue to control Congress. And what that means is that far more of the Republican agenda has the potential to make it through into law. So the big lesson on redistricting is every state can do it. The rules are different in each state. Texas rules allow this partisan redistricting much more easily than other states. And so you're seeing them run with the ball on this to try to get an advantage in the midterm election. And you'll see other states try to follow suit. And so redistricting is going to become a big part of which party controls Congress in 2026. I'm Susan Ferriccio, and thanks for watching. To read more, please visit WashingtonTimes.com.